Hey, what's up? Welcome to Degen Ed. That's degenerative education, meaning none of this is financial advice. Just me having fun looking at charts like the charts behind me, which are of the indexes. Specifically here, looking at the SPY. Thought I'd go over that real quick before starting to take requests. Since I did name this one new highs, just wanted to go over why I think we might see some new highs in the stock market before we do start to roll over again. And hey, Nameless, what's up? I will definitely go over FSLY 9 and TMC. Yeah, no worries about that. I'll just add it to the request list once I go over the SPY real quick. But yeah, I mean, I just think that I think that we're at the beginning of a bear market or really at the tail end of a bull market. And I think that the SPY will be coming back down perhaps to this purple line. But I do think that it could be going to new all-time highs. And then I think that with that, perhaps putting in bearish divergence, which would be putting in a higher high in the stock price or ETF price, but then a lower high in the RSI. Right now it's possible that we are putting in a bull flag. Some consolidation up here might be breaking out to the upside. And so the prior high from the SPY, which was hit on July 16th, was at a price of $565.16. So, I'm wondering if we're going to be going above that this week. But we may not. It's quite possible that the highs that we saw the past couple days were it, and we're going to start pulling back. I'm not aware of any bad news or anything like that that might suggest that this is pulling back, or good news that this would be rallying. But yeah, so I just wanted to start with that I do think we could be seeing new highs. And with that being said, I have talked about shorting the market, shorting semiconductors, and really I just think it's a good time to be slowly accumulating those to hedge for when we do see some big moves to the downside, like we did see on the 5th over that weekend. Yeah, maybe we'll be seeing that again in a couple weekends. So good to have some short positions, because when this was down, people were panic selling. There was a lot of chaos right when the market started. And on Monday the 5th, and I panic sold some of my shorts for profit here. And while I didn't roll them over into other positions, I could have done that. And so I think it's good to just for if in case this does happen again, which I do think it will, it's nice to be taking profits when things pull back. So, you can be playing both sides of it. But anyways, I'm going to switch over to the request list. Did have a couple requests from before I started the stream in the comments. One of them being Grab. I guess I've gone over this one before. Not too familiar with it. Don't really remember going over it. I might do a video on that since it was requested. And if it doesn't come up in the live stream, I'll just save that for the video. And then Blink was also requested. Always get comments for, going over Blink. Did just put out a video on it. And so, if Ben stops by and wants me to go over the chart, I'd be happy to do that. But I will start with Nameless's request, which requests, plural, which are FSLY 9, and TMC, the normal weekly requests from Nameless. And so, yeah, I'll just put this over on FSLY to get going on that. But before I get into the charts here, cheers everybody. Hope you all had a great weekend. My weekend, was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Start back work tomorrow and Tuesday. So I'm hoping to, moving forward, have video out before I go to work and then one when I come back. And then I've really been enjoying doing the members only live streams, doing hunting unusual whales. That just really helps me decide which ones I am interested in partaking in. And yeah, I had a trade on Friday. It was almost 60% swing shorting, or having a put on ASTS in and out. And yeah, I sold 1 penny away from the high that day, so I was pretty excited about that. But yeah, cheers to you guys, cheers to the weekend, and cheers to the start of a new exciting week. I think I made that a little strong, but that's okay. But yeah, so FSLY. And actually, I'm going to clear my throat. A little too much sugar in there. Yeah, I just end up getting dehydrated and then I have to clear my throat a bunch. I think that's what it is. I'm not a big smoker or anything, so I'm not too concerned about that. But yeah, excuse me if I do clear my throat a lot. All right, so here, looking at the FSLY chart, I know that I've gone over this definitely last Sunday, I believe the past couple Sundays. And let's see, I'm just going to go back to when was last Sunday. So 5 days. So this was last Sunday when I went over it. And, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This was the Sunday before that. So yeah, I imagine I was talking about there possibly being a bottom here. It does look like it got rejected here, which is not so great. Would be nice to see it getting higher, breaking above those prior lows. Yeah, because it did get above the low here from the 5th. Wow, that's actually kind of surprising. I guess earnings, it dropped even further. So yeah, that was a gap down and then a pullback, regaining a lot of what was lost on the 5th, green candle there. But yeah, it's surprising that it dropped so much more following that. But anyways, the low on the 5th during market hours was $6.65. The highs over here, $6.68 and $6.73. So definitely got rejected from that level. And so what I would do, it's not too exciting, but I just do another Fibonacci retracement here to see if it's, respecting some of these levels. They're all going to be pretty close though, but we can see. Oops, there we go. Yeah, so it looks like it's pulled back to around the 382, around 627, bounced from there. So maybe, hopefully that is, going to be serving as support there. And hey, sweet lovely, yeah, I'll definitely look over CLOV, so I'll pull that up here in just a second. I might actually add it to the list right now because I think there's going to be an ad popping up in just a second, and so I'll get that up here in the list while that happens. All right, so yeah, I've got CLOV on the list up here, so I won't forget that one. But then, yeah, looking back at FSLY, I'm wondering if this could be, like a bull flag, but it does seem like a pretty steep angle. Gareth Soloway always talks about, whether it's bearish or bullish flag, whenever you see that consolidation, if it's more than 45 degrees coming down, so like 90 degrees would be horizontal here. This is looking pretty close to that. If it's more than 45 degrees, then, it's kind of negates the pattern. And so I would think that this down move on the 22nd, coming down 3.5% on the day, might be negating that, especially because, let's see, what was the low on the 21st? 635. We closed below that on Thursday, and then we did actually close above that level on Friday, just a few pennies above it. But yeah, this looks a little bit precarious. So I guess like the levels I'd look for are 627. Hopefully it's holding that over the course of the next couple of days, trading above that and beyond, then starting to reclaim higher, like the 236 at 644. If it does start to go lower, if it wicks down to like 613, I think it's just going to continue potentially down these levels. And so I did remove the 618 and 65% level, the golden pocket there. It's possible it could be coming to that. If I throw up the volume profile, looks like, maybe there'd be some support around the 50% level, so just a little bit lower than where it's currently at. Or, maybe it could be, finding support right there, but it looks like the volume point of control, I believe, the middle dashed line there is at 618. And the low, like I said, on the 22nd was 621, so just a few pennies above that. But yeah, we've got this other shelf down here right around the golden pocket, 618 down to the 65% retracement, ranging from $5.94 up to $5.98, or right around $6. So yeah, $6, I might be pulling back to that. Let's see if there are trend lines that I could add to this that might suggest that a bottom's in. I think it's really just going to be, might be too steep. Well, we got 715, that's above what we're currently at. So we did lose that level. And 677 got rejected from that, or really, all of these lows here. Definitely seems like, I'm not sure if there's going to be much in the volume profile, but yeah, it does start to pick up there because there's this volume gap here that you can see, but then there's just, no price action over here. The only price action is just right in here when it was getting rejected. So yeah, I think getting up to like 6.77 or $7 is going to be tough. But yeah, if I take a step back, maybe there's something here. I'm just going to draw from this point. This is probably going to be too steep of a retracement, or not retracement, but a downtrend. So it should be, I have it set magnetic, so it should stick to the tops and bottoms and whatnot of the trading days. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I hope you guys saw how I drew that. I'll just go over it. I was just checking to see if it did correspond with anything over there. And so, yeah, I mean, I have drawn that based on what pivot points? Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just going to make sure that it is. So this low, 1301. So over here, 1301, so that's good. And then over here, I got that pivot point at 677. Is that right? Yep. So yeah, those are the two points for that downtrend. And the reason why I picked that, the reason why, I was thinking it might be significant, because it looks like it might be the right angle to intersect with it. If I would have done it here, it would have been too shallow. If I would have done it here, just like how it is, it'd be flat effectively. And so that line, I'm going to change the color of it so it stands out. I'll make it orange, and I'll make it a little bit thicker. And so, yeah, I mean, we had a lot of this consolidation right around that level, and then we had some tests of it here getting basically a double top there, rejected approximately from that level, had some consolidation, some moves around there with it, acting as resistance, as support, and then breaking lower before gapping up. And so, yeah, that just seemed like an interesting level there. And then intersecting with this low, price is trading right around there. And so, maybe that's not a significant level because, there is, just sorry for zooming in and out so much, but, there is, some room for interpretation here. I think that this kind of like double top, that stands out to me as being notable. The points here, maybe I could adjust this with this being the pivot point that low, then it would be below current price. So maybe I've, had a bias in drawing this, expecting that to be right around where the current price action is. But, maybe that is significant. Maybe there's something there. And so that 382, 627, if we get wicks below it, no big deal. We don't want to see closes below it. And now the lowest close that we're looking at was from Thursday, and that was at 623. So if we get a close below 623, I think that this is going down to these lower levels. If we get wicks below it but closes above 627, I think it might be starting to form a bottom before going back up. But yeah, I mean, 613 to the downside and then right around 6. I could see that happening if we do start to see lower closes. But with this confluence of levels, the 382 and that downtrend, I think there's a little bit of hope there. It might be some hopium, but there is something there that's not just a Fibonacci retracement. And, I did draw that without looking at it, with that out of the frame. So, maybe there is some significance to it. And yeah, I'm just going to catch up in the comments. Hey, Justin, what's up? Good evening. Yep, I hope you all had a great weekend. I'm just going to do a cheers to all of you. And Ricardo, how's it going? Cheers to you. And yeah, I will. So I've got a couple more to go over for Nameless. Then Sweet Lovely had a request, which is Clover Health. And then I will definitely go over SoFi as well. I'm happy you request it here because I'm reluctant to make videos on it because, yeah, I don't know. It's gone, it's broken out, and I tend to, I mean, maybe this is what's appealing about the channel is I tend to be not necessarily overly bearish, but like overly cautious. And, SoFi is just one where I think that it's going to be eventually pulling back, but, I know it's been breaking out and looking really good lately. I know like getting around 7, but I'll look at the chart there in a minute. I'm just going to continue on with the next one from Nameless, which is 9. So here, got a lot of levels here. This is kind of overwhelming. And yeah, I mean, I have to adjust some of them. Really, this one, I am going to adjust this to basically remove all of the levels except for the 100% retracement, so we see where that bottom was, and then the 1618 in case that is identifying right around $1 to the downside, where it could be finding some support. But then here, looking at this one, this is the reason why it's good to be cautious when drawing retracements. If it's not clear, like over here, it's clear that the top was in, that it has turned around, then you could just be drawing something with some hopium. And so I guess this was from Friday, and so I had to have drawn that last week, and so during the last stream. And so I'm actually going to adjust that down to 115.4. Not really too exciting there, because it is just a little bit lower, but that is, we don't want to see any closes below 115.4. And another thing that's really interesting about that, sorry for keep zooming in and out, but wick down, but then close right at those downtrends there, and then just hanging out around it, closing once below, but not below that low, so it hasn't confirmed a break. And I'm not even sure if closing below that would be confirming a break, because it didn't necessarily close below those levels here, just wick down, hammer candle, and so it's not really a clean break. And so closing below 115.4, that may not be confirmation. Still figuring out how that stuff works for myself personally, just because it's like it goes lower but it doesn't confirm, then it goes up, and sometimes it confirms, and but then that's a fake out and the bottom's in. So that's something that Gareth Soloway talks about a lot, but I'm still kind of getting the hang of it. But anyways, yeah, I mean, this candle on Thursday was not looking so great. It was down almost 5%, but did reclaim all that was lost on that day, also with a lot of volume here behind it. So I think that looks good. That suggests to me that even with this coming down here and getting pushed back up to that level, there wasn't really that much volume behind it relative to what we saw on Friday. And so that suggests to me that the bottom could very well be in with this one. And then I'm just going to take a step back to see where those downtrends come in. And so this one, that I should probably draw these different colored. So I'm going to make this one red. Yeah, so that is like the upper one, I guess. That one, to me, it looks more significant just because, it's based on these lows over here. Did get, a wick below it, so maybe I could adjust that to that one. But it's just a wick, no close below it, so I do feel like that's still valid. And then the white downtrend, that one looks like it's, a little bit more hand wavy because it's open to interpretation over here, how I would draw it to that pivot point, maybe go a little bit higher or lower. But we did respect that level over here as support, and then also over here, getting some fake out breaks below it, which was showing weakness here. We did respect that, but I guess that was effectively a bear flag before breaking down, gapping down there with a gap still that needs to be filled. Actually, it's not going to be at 341. I used to draw gaps differently based on the wicks, but I need to do it based on the closes. So that's actually going to be at 343. Not that, the pennies really matter that much with it. And I thought I felt my phone vibrating. I was just looking around. It's like, I think I left my phone downstairs. So I don't need that distraction anyways. Unless, we're to look at overnight trading with GameStop or something. But yeah, I mean, I think there might be an ad popping up, but let's see. Looking at the current price, yeah, I mean, my thoughts are really, just coming from this volume, also the RSI having broken below 30, really just kind of like dancing around that line here. It does look like it's moving up, and it does look like there's volume behind it. So I would think that the bottom is in for 9. But what might negate that would be a close below the low here, which was 118, or especially a close below 115.4. That would make me think that this is definitely coming down to that 1618 down here, right around $1, or here at 96.8 cents. So, there's that. But I do think that this looks more like bottoming signals than a bear flag, because it does seem to be respecting those levels. But if this goes on for another week without moving higher, then I think that's kind of getting into bear flag territory, because it's, you want to see a bounce from the bottom. If you just see it hang out there, it means that buyers are going to get exhausted. It's like, when I see, it dipped down to, 120, I'm going to load the boat. And then it just hangs out at 120, and it's like, well, I already loaded the boat at 120. I can't load another boat. So then, just no more buyers, then it goes lower. So if this is still around these trend lines a week from now for next Sunday, I think it's probably going to break lower, especially because I think the following week, I believe is it Labor Day? Yeah, Labor Day. So I think the market's going to be closed not tomorrow, but the Monday after. And so yeah, maybe I do a ticker request live that Monday night on Labor Day. But with that being said, light volume probably on that week, so maybe this would drop. So be careful about that if it's still hovering around these levels. But then the next one is going to be the metals company, TMC. This one's tricky because it's just, moved up, down, moved up. I mean, it is moving higher, so I think that's good. What are these levels? So I might actually, some of them are kind of arbitrary. These ones over here, just the horizontal lines. For horizontal stuff, I really like to look at the Fibonacci levels. And yeah, there's just a lot of yellow here. This, let's see. Yeah, I'm just going to delete those lines. This one doesn't really look that significant. Oh, I think I was pointing out high in the price, lower high in the RSI, and then it pulled back, so that was bearish divergence. But it's just really cluttered. So I'm gonna delete some of these levels that I got drawn up here. And the yellow, while it's like clear to see, I find it like a little intrusive. It's a little too intense for my eyes. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I mean, I think I'm not sure if I eyeballed that or what, but I didn't have it lined up to the points. So I'm just gonna do that. So it makes a little bit more sense. Just taking a glance at it, And so, okay, yeah, I might delete this one as well. And that, I think that's a pretty cool level. I'm not going to lock it because I need to adjust it. But yeah, let's adjust this to, I'm going to do it this low over here, so this other one, intersects with it. Even though it goes a little bit lower, it doesn't close below, so I think that's good. And then over here, I will connect this with whichever one. Just want to get the more touch points, the merrier, So there's that. I'm just going to make this a little thicker so we can see it easier. Does look like that was kind of like a fake out, almost, well, not a fake out, but like a test of that level, a near test of it. And so that's also good why, it's like, oh, well, I see this one at like 78 cents, but, maybe it just goes down to like 80 cents, or, I'll place the order at 80 cents, but then here the low is 80.3 cents. So that's kind of crazy. So would have been good to buy the dip at 81 cents. Yeah, so I think this is cool, that wick down there. To this prior low. I'll make this light blue. I've been enjoying light blue. It's easy on the eyes. It's nice and cool. Yeah, so this retracement, I would think it's levels that would be suggesting support. We've already broken through all of them doing a full retracement. So I am actually going to, before I do this, because I'm just going to have to add them back up, I'm going to do another retracement from the top here at 207, Oh man, I guess I have to do this anyways. So, all right, I should have just deleted these so it's not so cluttered. Oh, it's actually not cluttered because there's nothing on there. All right. So there's that 100% retracement. We did get it. And now I'm going to add levels here that should be, acting as resistance. Ugh. I don't know if you guys heard it. I don't know if it was my throat or my mouth made a little funny noise. I had just eaten dinner before making the drink. So, yeah. So, I think there was a level before here. It might have been the 786. Just out of curiosity, I'm going to throw it back up here. So 786. Yeah, right around there. So I find that to be pretty interesting. Does look like it's consolidating below the 236, which is around 110. But it is consolidating above this uptrend, so maybe there is some hope with that. That, again, is based on the points over here, a number of touch points crosses with the wicks, but no closes below it until, we break down here. And so, yeah, I mean, this to me looks more like it's going to break to the upside than the downside. The reason for that is because we saw these two big green candles. So I would think this is more likely a bull flag, just like we saw over here. And then it, pulled back and then broke to the upside. And this actually kind of reminds me of, it's ugly, but it kind of reminds me of rising three methods where you'd have a green candle over here, three red candles coming down, like stair stepping down, and then another big green candle. So it's like you get, a green candle going up, and then kind of a 3-day reversal, and then a big green candle countering that reversal, and that suggests that price, is going to continue to the upside. And so we kind of have that here with this big move up, or, really here, big move up, bearish engulfing candle, and then stair stepping down before, gapping up and consolidating over here. So I guess what I would look for is closes below the lows that we've seen over here. Maybe, we could just take it from the low that was hit on the 15th. It's 99 cents. The lows over here were $1 and $1. So, I'd say if we get a close at 99 cents again, I would think that's probably going to break to the downside and maybe testing, like 80 cents again. But if we don't, if we're just getting wicks below, maybe even to 98 cents, but closing above this uptrend, which we, basically we don't want to be seeing closes below 101, 102. If we do start to see that, then we're getting below this downtrend and it's likely to break to the downside. And then as far as the upside goes, we want to see a close above this wick high. That was the high from the 21st, so on Wednesday, and that was around 112, specifically exactly 112. So if we get a close at 113, I would think that is likely to go higher, and that would also be above the 236. So then I would look for a move to around 128, 129, which is the 382. And I think that there might be some resistance there because from this retracement, we can see the bottom here intersecting with that level, those wicks down, as well as over here. So with that being prior support before it breaking here, I think it might be resistance on the way up. So yeah, I'd look for a claim of 110, ideally closing at 113 or higher, and then a move to 128, 129. But that might then result in a pullback to around 110. So look for that. And yeah, hey Ben, what's up? Yeah, no problem about the live stream. I will definitely go over BLNK. I already have it up there because I thought you might stop by. Sorry I didn't respond to the comment. I've just tried to crank out videos today because I'm at work the next couple days and, just trying to get as many views, before the end of the month. So yeah, I'll try to respond to comments and stuff tomorrow. But whenever there's requests on videos, if I make a video, if there's a stream, I like to just respond with the stream or the video. But yeah, so hopefully that's helpful. Nameless, those three stocks that I went over. And then I'm going to move on to Sweet Lovely's request, which is CLOV. And this one, I know nobody wants to hear it. I think it looks like it's putting in topping signals. And the reason for that is, I think that this candle on Wednesday on the 21st, looking really good, about 13% to the upside. And, closing near the top of the trading for that day. The high was 355, closed at 350. So, looking really good there. But then on Thursday, went higher. And so I think that kind of gets, retail to be like FOMOing in, buying more. Oh, it's going to keep going. It's going to go to 4. But then closing, it's like in the bottom 10%, not even the bottom quarter, getting very close to the low for the day. I'm just going to clear my throat, so I'm going to mute myself 1 second. Sorry about that. But yeah, I think that looks like, this is a topping signal. It's not a huge wick to the upside. So, I would think that would be more of a tell. But, what do we see on Friday? Basically, that we saw a big wick to the upside, putting in an inverted hammer. And, I think this could also be viewed as, while it's not a doji, the open and close were not too far apart. Opened at 340, closed at 334, so even went lower in the day. If it would have opened and closed at the same price, an upside down doji, being on one side or the other. On the top side, that's a dragonfly doji, suggesting that, the top is not in, or, the bottom might be in because buyers are stepping in with that wick. But here it looks like with this one, with that big wick to the upside, sellers are stepping in, and so they're pushing that price down, getting this inverted hammer or gravestone doji. So I think that following Wednesday's trading, I would not have thought the top was in, especially because on Monday we got this big wick to the upside, and that spinning top, or really that's like almost like a doji, just like this one, big wick to the upside and downside there. So that's suggesting indecision. This one on Tuesday as well, even though that is a bearish engulfing candle, engulfing the open and close, the candle from Monday. But that really just suggests indecision because buyers are stepping in below these levels, sellers are selling above these levels. But then, that was negated on Wednesday because there was a close at a price of 350, whereas the high on Monday was 347. So closing above that looked really good. But then Thursday, wick higher, close lower, and near the bottom of the trading for that day, followed by another wick up, but not being able to get higher than the previous day and putting in this inverted hammer. And let's see, so with this push higher, we did see more volume traded on that day, but that could just be, retail FOMOing in at the top here, while bigger players are dumping on them, drawing the price lower. And then here, lower volume. That makes me think that, with the smaller amount of volume, attempt to get the price higher, but, sellers are just overwhelming the stock up there. So yeah, I think that could be coming lower. And also too, if we think about this in, like fluid motion, and we look at the RSI down here, it was around 54, 55, right around the middle, between 70 and 30. And then it starts to flow up. And then, as it's going higher, the RSI is kind of like starting to roll over. And so it looks to me like, if I were to, fit a curve to this, or, try and understand where this is going, it looks to me like this is more likely to roll over and come back below the 70 level. So getting back from the overbought, and that could be actually healthy for it, that it could be pulling back. And then maybe there'd be some more room to the upside. But right now, I think it definitely needs to be cooling off. And so with that being said, I've got all these levels drawn here. They're kind of worthless, but I might, just for fun, and actually, I'm going to make sure that, so it's 606 down there, and then the high over here was, let's see, was that 163? Yeah, okay. So I'm just going to make sure that is correct. Yeah. And then I'm going to add the 1618 just for fun. The, let's see, the 3618, that's too high. But I'll do the 2618. It's around 328, 330, somewhere around there. So, yeah, maybe it's going to consolidate above that level, but I could definitely see it coming back because, like, from 60 cents. Let's just get a measurement there. 60.6 cents up to the high. It's going to be, it's hidden a little bit, but that's 530% to the upside. So that's a pretty big move there. And so, not too surprising to think that it might be cooling off. But with that being said, I am, because we've blown past all these levels, I just think this is kind of neat, going from that high to this low. I will draw one from this low to this high, but I'm just going to clean up. Actually, before I do that, because I don't want to be adding those levels in over and over and over. Oh, and cool, look, this inverse head and shoulders definitely played out and more. That's kind of funny. All right, so what am I going to do? I'm going to draw this retracement from 606 up to the high here at 381.5, and I'm going to add in, all of those levels. So we got them there, and I don't think, because it's the all-time low, I don't really need to clutter it with the 100% there, because we can always see the all-time low there at 60.6 cents. But yeah, so for this retracement, I am just going to omit all of the levels except for the 100 and beyond, because I think those are probably going to be the most informative for it. But I'm going to make that one, let's see, I'll make it light blue. It's just such a nice soft color. All right, and so looking at this, and looking at these other levels that I've drawn, $2, it's probably, I was assuming it was arbitrary, but it did act as support over here. And so, yeah, I think that green line right around $2, what does that correspond with? This is actually really cool. What do we get a close at on the 13th? So just a couple weeks ago, if even, let's see, 14, yeah, just a couple weeks ago, less than that. The close was exactly $2. So there's a gap that needs to be filled there. And there is this level that has been historical support. It was also resistance right here. So, I think price could be coming down to there. What are the levels of the Fibonacci that correspond with that? 50% is at 221. That corresponds with the 1618 from the other Fibonacci retracement coming from the top down. So maybe there's something there, but I just don't see much price action there. If I put up the volume profile, there's nothing really until we start to get down to actually below $2 a share coming, because $2 a share was resistance. There wasn't price would attempt to get up to it, but it'd get rejected. So there wasn't that much consolidation just below that level. More like a little bit lower than it, corresponding here with the golden pocket. That's the 65% retracement up to the 618, right around 175, let's say. So the range is 172.9 up to 183.2. So like 175, I could see price pulling back to that. If it is to not continue higher, if this is actually a top that we're seeing, maybe it's a fake out, maybe I'm wrong. Always the case. That's why I always try to talk about levels to the upside and downside, because I'm not going to be right all the time. I'm rarely right, I would say. And so with that being said, just clean up the chart, removing that volume. I think $2 and wicking below it, coming down to either 184, I guess would be rounding this up, 183.2 up to 184. Maybe that is an appealing level to maybe place a limit buy if it does pull back. I do think it will be finding some support there. There was this, nice consolidation there. And, like I said, prior support $2 in the past. And if it does break below, if it does start to go below the golden pocket here, this top here is at 163. And let's see, that does correspond with a consolidation over here. So I'd say, lowest I think it'd go is basically a 50% pullback to around 163. Is that a 50% pullback? I'm not sure. That's I'm looking at current price, not the high. So yeah, from current price, that's about 50%. But from the high, it's a little bit more, it goes beyond the 65% level. And that's what those mean. But yeah, so hopefully that was helpful. CLOV, I would think it's a little bit cautious moving forward. And yeah, let's see. Yeah, because the 3618 was way higher. But, if it does go higher, let's just look at these pivot highs here. So I'm going to draw them blind and we'll see where they're at. So I'll draw this one at 390. I'll say that's, going to be a red line because that's like, definitely get out of the position if it gets up to there because I think there's a lot of resistance. And then this other top, that is 355. And I will make that a little bit thicker and make it yellow. And that's like, hey, might be a good idea to trim there. And let's see. Yeah, I mean, we did cross. Yeah, I mean, so not even thinking about it. I think that those are two levels that had acted as prior resistance, and it seems like they're acting like it again. So yeah, I'd say a pullback to maybe 221 best case scenario, worst case scenario 163, 175, 185 seems like the good dip buying levels. There's this gap here, $2, so keep that in mind. And that, yeah, I have a green line drawn, but that is a gap, so I'm going to make it blue. So makes me think, it's probably a gap there, and there is a gap right here, but it has more history. So that's really cool. Yeah, so no problem. Yeah, so be careful. One thing that I've found, it's like I think it's like the most boring way to trade. It's like really not exciting. And whenever I make videos like calling tops, they don't get views. I think that's disappointing because like I don't want to just be making videos saying that everything's going higher. Everybody wants to hear that. But, at some point, tops are formed and, also bottoms are formed, and people tend to be very reluctant to make that change. And so it's like kind of a contrarian mindset. It's good to have when, everybody's like, oh, this is up so much. The top might be in. And so what I tend to do, like I don't have a position in CLOV, but if I did, I mean, I probably would have started trimming, much lower, I would imagine. But, if it was up here, depending on how many shares I have, I might do 1 share a day or, maybe 10% of my position a day while it's up here if my average is down here. Just, with the mindset of I still want to hold some if it's going higher, because I'm probably wrong. I think, we're always more likely to be wrong than right. And that's how, the stock market works. It takes people's money. And so with that being said, if you sell all of it up here, then it's like, well, you're going to be wrong. It's going to go higher. If you don't sell, well, I mean, the top's probably in. And so, I mean, I think that to kind of play that is, okay, well, let's say I have 100 shares. I'm going to trim 10 shares every day while it's up here until I get down to 10 shares or maybe 20 shares. And then if I have 20 shares, then, I'd set the limit sell at, let's say, $4 for 10 of them. But I just always hold 10 because I love CLOV, let's say, and I never want to let the company go. I want to hold on to the shares forever. And so, but then that puts me into a position of, if I've got 10 shares, I can hold on to those forever. But if it does pull back, because this has definitely gone up a lot. So I think it's got to pull back so we get some more, price action, some support at lower levels or higher levels, I should say, moving up here. And then so when it does pull back, then it's like, well, I had 100 shares, but I trimmed them all up here. I only got 10 or 20 left. But now I can, buy back those 80 shares when it's down here, get my average down much lower than it was before, and I can get even more than 100 shares now because of all that savings that I have from trimming up here, all that money that was made. So I think trimming's a really good strategy, but it's totally annoying. It's not as exciting as selling at the exact top, but it's never going to happen anyways. So yeah, hopefully helpful, hopefully just a good lesson overall. I find whether it's dollar cost averaging into or out of positions, I feel like that's just it's a great way to manage risk. And so the next one, I've got a request for, Tilray. Justin, sorry, I missed your comment on Tilray. Yeah, I'll definitely go over Tilray. I had a position in it, but I've just been, trying to manage risk, and I ended up selling out of it. So I'll go over that, and then Ricardo is asking for SoFi, so then I'll do SoFi next. Sorry to keep you waiting, Ricardo. But yeah, let's see. What was I just talking about? Tilray, 193. Yeah, I think I can't remember where I sold mine at. Probably around Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe around the trend lines here. But yeah, looking at this, I think, okay, yeah, I can definitely clean this up because we did pull back to the 786. Yeah, and also too, like I was thinking that, cannabis, a lot going on with the election and stuff, but I feel like this election has just gotten to be, I don't know, a pretty weird one. Um, just so much has happened around it that it's like, I mean, do we really, like, is cannabis really a talking point now? Um, so, so I don't know that there'd be that much movement around it, but maybe, closer to election day when states are starting, oh, it's legal in this state now for whether it's recreational or medicinal. I think that would just be good for cannabis stocks. But anyways, I'm just rambling here while I got this up here, and so I'm gonna leave that 100% on there just because it's not the all-time low in this time frame. We did come down to 150, and so yeah, I'm just gonna leave these just basically the 786 up there because we did pull back to it. And yeah, and then like 170. Yeah, I mean, I've always viewed that as a really nice level. Dang, that's on the 12th. What happened there? The 5th is when I think I had an order at 169, and I think it was like I wasn't like on the 5th, I sold my short positions for profit. I didn't panic sell any of my long positions, but I think I panic removed some buy orders. And so I think maybe over that weekend, I was like, nah, I just want to lower the risk. And, maybe Tilray's coming down to 170. But yeah, I mean, that level, I've drawn that line there. I feel like that's, tried and true with Tilray, 170. Every time you buy it, you get above it. And so from 170 to current price, up 13%. So that's, looking nice there. But yeah, I mean, just looking at this not retracement, this trend line here, going from those lows, you can see with those blue circles, we are above that. I've got this orange uptrend. What is that from? Same type of deal, pivot lows over here. And, we're above both of those levels and they converge over here. I think that we're above a lot of support right now. I think the stock's looking really good because of those levels. And then, let's see, draw a retracement from the top here, 215 down to 150, and see if there's another level right around there. Maybe we'd be seeing a pullback down to those levels, really testing them. But yeah, let's see. 215 down to 150, and I'm going to have to add some levels here. I'm going to remove the 100%, and that will be, suggesting levels that might be acting as resistance. So, but yeah, I mean, so it's from here and then maybe to that pullback. Yeah, maybe I want to draw something else on here. Oh, let's see. So there's that 50% level that's right in the middle. And, so this is coming down. I would think that we would be looking for these levels as resistance, retracing back to this point. So we've kind of gotten tangled up in this range. So I might leave those. I might make that light blue because I like them light blue. And then I'll do another one going from that low to this high and see if there's something else. Maybe this would be that would be the 236 or 382, I imagine will correspond with what we're looking at there. So that's just gonna make sure it's 150 and up to 198. Is that right? 150, 198. All right. And so I am going to make this one, let's see, 382 is actually a little bit lower, so I don't really like that too much. But yeah, I mean, we've got those. I'm going to make this one yellow. This one's going to stand out a little bit. But yeah, I mean, this is really nice. It's pulled back to the 236 at like 186 to 187, specifically being 186.7. Gotten some wicks below that, has been holding, and it looks like it's starting to move up, getting above this, what seems like it was kind of resistance, kind of generally over here, this golden pocket from the way down. And so I would look for price getting up to, what's this, 786 here? Looks like 201.1, or really just $2 a share. The high on the 15th was 198, so getting a close above that would look really good. But even if we get a flush down to 180, or maybe, let's see, what's this level? That is 180. That is going to be the 382 here. If we get wick down to that, but then a close above, 182, 183, I think that these trend lines are still acting as support. And, confluence of levels there, I think that there's a lot of support just below where current price is. So if we do go a little lower, I think that's all right. But I think that, it could have found support at the 236. I think it's looking really good. And yeah, the dip buys at 170, 169. I'm wishing I was still in it, but yeah, I just got to be managing risk. And I've kind of turned away from cannabis for the time being. But yeah, it looks really good. So congrats for holding. If you were buying the dips here, not panicking, whether that was, on the 5th or the 12th, just looking good. So yeah, nice work. And so FYI, the $1.50 doesn't really count. Some big financial banks did some reshuffling, and it brought the stock down and came right back up. Okay, yeah. So, if that's the case, either way, though, it's still on the chart. This level could be, adjusted to, let's see, what was the low over here from the 5th? That was 168. So let's say, I adjust this down to, or up to 168. Maybe we see a different level that corresponds with, the 382 right below where it's at. So that's acting as support. And then if I add the 50%, that actually, that 50% is right around 183. So the 50% from over here is 182.5. So yeah, I think, either way you draw it up, these retracements are really just to get an idea of, where it might be returning to. And I think that 180 to 183 looks like there's a lot of support there. Or whether it's support or just, confluence of levels that would then be acting as support. So I think it looks good. But yeah, that wick down is a pretty big surprise. And if I look over at the 1 minute time, I'm going to remove the drawings just so it doesn't get too crazy. Maybe 1 minute's too much. But yeah, I just want to see, was that just a quick wick down to 150? Yeah, I'm surprised that happened during market hours. Yeah, so I'd say that seems a little bit nefarious there. That's at 9:31 right after open. So, yeah, thanks for pointing that out. But yeah, I actually think that makes it look better as far as this retracement goes because, I wouldn't be surprised to see it breaking below, some of these levels, and it did. So I'm just going to remove that 236, and I'm going to move that over to here. So, it reflects where that line is coming from. I might wonder, why didn't I draw it to there? Oh, but then, with that being said, I should probably adjust this one. And this would actually make me feel better because, let's see, what are the other levels on this? Because the more of a retracement, I feel like the better, or, the more likely it is to have found its footing. And so here the 382 right around there, the 236. That's breaking below, but, we're really looking for that as, resistance to the upside. And the 382 did act as, I'm just going to close that. The 382 did act as resistance initially here, getting some wicks above it, then breaking above, like stair-stepping its way up there. And so, yeah, the next level up is to get above really the golden pocket, so getting above $2 basically. And then 205 is the 786, and then back to 215. So, yeah, super cool chart. And so, yeah, I'm just going to catch up on Justin's comments there, and then I will move on to SoFi for Ricardo. And so, let's see. Yeah, so I saw a comment about $1.50 doesn't really count. And, yep, came back. Yeah, because less than a minute, going down there and then popping up right after open. So I feel like maybe they had to wait until open to do that. It's kind of weird. Uh, HMMJ fund, something like that. That's what he's saying. Everyone says to imagine it's not there when looking at the charts. I think that seems totally valid because yeah, I mean, it's like it should have happened in the after hours, but didn't. So, yeah, so thanks for pointing that out. And I do think it looks good as a result. But either way, it's not really based on the Fibonacci's. It's based on these two trend lines. I think it's looking like it's above some support there. So I think it's good. And then definitely buying and holding to wait for the Schedule 3 announcement. I'm expecting a 20 to 50% pop on that day easily, hopefully to start the new bull market. Yeah. Yeah, I'm like, I wonder though if if it's rallying a lot up to that announcement, it's possible it could be a sell the news event. So I'd be cautious of that. Like the big sell the news event that I experienced was like Elon Musk being on SNL with Dogecoin. That was the tippy top. And so yeah, I guess I'd have a plan if that is a sell the top, if it has really broken out before that announcement. And then each time Justin's going on, each time is it goes down. I keep adding. Yeah, so I think that's like the thing that I think everybody has a hard time with is if something's pulling back, and then it's like you buy a little bit here expecting it to go lower, then it's like, okay, well, I'm just gonna wait. I'll buy as it goes lower, but then it starts to go higher, and then it's like, oh well, crap, I don't want to miss it. FOMO in. So I think it's good to just, have these levels for that if it does pull back. And so looking at the chart, I think, rounding numbers up, I think is good on pullbacks because maybe it doesn't wick down to your level, or maybe it does, but the order doesn't get filled. Just like, you're saying, imagine this one didn't happen. I can't imagine that any orders were getting filled below like 161 just because it was so quick there. And so, yeah, what was I saying? Something about, a level. So, I was saying 180 to 183. I feel like, maybe it doesn't pull back to this 50% retracement at 183 exactly. Maybe it just comes down to 185. So what I've been doing is, it's like 183. I'll just place my order at 185. And then so that can be a nice way to, pick up shares. And it does look like these wicks were down to that. So actually, maybe it's worth it to, whether it's 185, I mean, it might not have gotten filled on those wicks down, so yeah, 185, I think that's a good level to be adding at, dollar cost averaging, adding as it does dip. Because, yeah, I mean, it's quite possible at 70, now that it's like I've been 170 is a good level to buy at, but then I over this weekend removed my buy order, and it's like, oh crap, from that, I think it was 13% up, something like that from that level. Yeah, I mean, I'd be up in it right now, just hanging out. And so with that being said, it's like, well, now that I'm on the sidelines, it's like, ooh, well, if it goes back to 170, it may not go back to 170. I'm just stuck on the sidelines. So that's how it goes. But yeah, now I will go over SoFi for Ricardo. Sorry for making you wait so long, buddy. I know you've been hanging out. And so Justin just has one more comment there from what... Oh, yeah, a couple more comments, I guess. Thanks again. Really appreciate it. Have a good night. Yeah, you too. Take care, man. And from what I read, people's orders did not get filled on that. Yeah, that's what I imagine. I've had orders placed and it wicked down to the exact same price, during market hours, whatever. And I have to say, this SoFi chart looks really cool. Something I was just talking about earlier is in the chart, so it's really cool. But like what I was saying, wick down to the level, order not filled. It's like, man, come on. So yeah, I mean, you can't be to the penny with the orders. I feel like it's good around to the nickel. But yeah, I mean, Ricardo, I hope you're still here. Let me know in the chat if you are. But I was talking about earlier about a rising three methods. That's exactly what we have here with the SoFi. This is beautiful, and I think I might actually have to make my video tomorrow morning before I go to work on SoFi because this is a rising three methods, and I can pull that up here. Let's see, I'm just going to open up a new tab, rising three methods. And so this is going to be from Investopedia. There's going to be some ads. But here we can see this is the rising three methods where you have a green candle up, three red candles coming down, and then a green candle going up. Okay, cool. Yeah. So like I'll just read a little bit about the rising three methods. I think it's really cool whenever these you actually see these because I think it's it's 5 trading days to get like a very specific pattern. But yeah, so understanding the rising three methods pattern. So here it says that the rising three methods pattern forms when a securities price action meets the following characteristics. 1, the first bar of the pattern is a bullish candlestick with a large real body within a well-defined uptrend. And so I guess it has to be in a well-defined uptrend. I do think that we're looking at that with SoFi, so I think it's looking pretty good. Subsequent candlesticks, normally 3 consecutive bearish small-bodied candlesticks that trade above the low and below the high of the first candle. So above the high, that trade, well, let's see, normally 3 consecutive bearish small-body candlesticks that trade above the low and below the high of the first candlestick. And I think there's some wiggle room with that, but that's really, the textbook example of it. The last bar is another bullish candlestick with a large real body that breaches the high and closes above the high. And so that's, like right here, that's effectively like confirmation. You have the high here, you're starting to go down. There's no confirmation that would be closing below this low here. We don't see that. And then we get a reversal candle over here that then closes above that prior high, and that's like confirmation it's going to continue going higher. And so let's see how that compares with the SoFi chart. I think it's probably going to be a little bit different, but yeah, I mean this looks textbook. This is super cool. Wow, I'm excited to make a video on this. People are going to be like, oh, this guy's being bearish on SoFi again. He thinks it's going to fill that gap. But it's like, no, I mean, I'm not going to buy it, but I think that it's going to keep going up. And so that's just, me and my risk profile. I see that gap to the downside. But yeah, this looks incredible. I'm going to have to do a video on this. I just got to clean up the chart a little bit. And yeah, I got so many things drawn up here. What do I want to delete? All of these levels. Let's see, I'm going to leave that golden pocket there and beyond. I'm going to delete. I'm going to leave the 0 because that's at 601. I got to rub it in people's faces that it went down to $6. Oh, I want to leave the golden pocket there though. All right. And yeah, I mean, I'll just leave the 1618 because maybe there's something with that. I can ditch these. I'm not going to ditch these older retracements because they have these levels that are right around 6, and that's just like something I'm really proud of. I stuck with it. I was probably too stubborn though. But yeah, oh, how is that? Oh, that's an extension. That's a Fibonacci extension. 550. So yeah, I mean, both of those seem significant because, at least for me and my it's going lower thesis. Not right now, though. I don't think it's going lower right now. And so over here, I don't want that one. I want this other one. Man. It's annoying when these overlap. There we go. So I'm going to remove that 100% from it. Dang it. No, this. I'm going to remove that 100% from it. There we go. But keep that 1618. I'm going to move this back so I know where it's to. And so, yeah, and I might, just to, this move's already played out, so I'll delete that. That head and shoulders already played out, so I'll delete that. Yeah, that's maybe that's just me being stubborn and I need to get over it. I think that's what it is. I think that's what it is. I think that I have those gaps down there. And I'm just gonna, I feel proud of myself. I'm moving on. I'm gonna keep this downtrend though. I think that might be retested. And this gap, has that gap been filled? Yeah, because it was at 603. So I'm gonna remove that gap. And these trend lines, I think this one is not really that useful. And this one, I might just make it gray. And I don't know that this, I'll leave that. I might make it gray though. I'm going to make it gray. All right, yeah, so these are the levels that still stand out to me as perhaps being, important. And I'm going to, this is me being petty. I'm going to remove that 0 because the low's already marked on the chart at 601. I'm getting over it. Okay, I still see this other gap to the downside, but I'm getting over it. Okay. I think this looks super, super good. Yeah, I mean, like I could draw another retracement, here, but that would be suggesting that the top is in. I don't think the top is in. Bull flag, rising 3 methods, it's going higher. And so the next level up, the 786, maybe it's going to bump into resistance there at like 762. But there's an ad popping up, so I'm just going to skip that. But what I see is this looking really good, this looking really strong. It's going to be breaking above the 786 at 762. It's going to be getting back up to 806 or $8, right around there. And I could see it getting, perhaps to fill this gap at 858, maybe getting up to $9, if not 933. I'm just really just saying numbers to the upside at this point because, I have no idea. But I just think that it looks really, really bullish. Rising 3 methods, bull flag. That's really good. And this is, let's see, what was the high here? So this close, did get a close above that. I guess maybe one thing that's a little concerning about it is the high here was 752, which was the close. So that's the one thing that's a little bit concerning about it. But generally, this looks really good. I think it's going back to 8. So yeah, I think it looks really good. I got a request to do one on Grab. I'll probably maybe do that tomorrow after work or something. But SoFi, right now, I got to do a video on this. So that's a super cool chart. And with that being said, I have been streaming for just over an hour and I do have work tomorrow. So I'm probably going to close this down. But I did just want to note in my little notepad, SoFi and Grab. Since I didn't go over Grab, I should make a video on that for that person. I've just been trying to get the ones that, look like they'll get a lot of views. I think SoFi will, especially because it will not be me saying, I think it's going to the gap to the downside. That's me saying, I think it's going to the gap to the upside. So yeah, thank you for the request, Ricardo. That is super cool. And I'm just going to scroll up actually to make sure I didn't miss any in case there were other tickers on there that were requested. I think I got them all though. Oh, Ben, are you still here? Did I not go over Blink? I need to go over Blink. Ben, let me know if you're still here. I'm sorry that I completely missed that, but that's just because, I had it up here to begin with. So sorry, Ben. Yes, Ben, I'm going to have a little drink. If you're still here, I'll go over Blink. If not, I don't think there's too much to say about it. And so, oh, you're still here. Okay, cool. Yeah, and Ricardo, no problem. And thank you for requesting SoFi because I think that chart looks super cool. It's fun. Like some of the videos I do, it's like I do them because it's been a while because I need to follow up. Some of them, I feel like you could probably tell I'm just like really excited about them. And SoFi, I'm excited about that one. And I should actually look up some unusual whales activity on it. Maybe that can inform on the video. But I'll first go over BLNK. And so really, all that I have to say about BLNK is I think I did the video, was it before open on Thursday? I believe so. I think I did it before I went to work. And so that was, yeah. When did I do that video? I don't have my phone, so I can't check. So I'm just going to have to check it on the channel here. So when did I, oops, those are lives. When did I do the BLNK video? That was on the 22nd. So that was Thursday before open. And so, yeah, following that video, let's see. Yeah, right after that video, we basically, I talked about how, just looking at that thumbnail in the title, BLNK charge. I'm like, BLNK charging. Why would I write charging there? BLNK charging is the company, not BLNK charging. It's funny. Bull flag or bear and confirmation. And so I talked about in that video this low here that was 203 on Friday. We got a close below it at 201. So that, in my view, is confirmation that this is going lower. The only thing that would negate that, as far as I understand, would be getting a close above, effectively the level that, that you'd be looking at to, reclaim. And so maybe this negates that confirmation a little bit because we did, go back up. But I would think a clear negation of that bearish confirmation here, closing below that low, would be closing above Thursday's high, which was at 214. We wicked above 214 to 215, but we closed below, closing at 210. So I think this is, I don't know how to divvy up the percentages as far as like, is this what percent is bullish or bearish. I think that this is more heavily weighted on the bearish side, that this is more likely to retest 189. But, I don't know if that's like 60-40 or maybe it's 70-30 as far as going to the downside. But the green on Friday going up about 4.5%, whereas on Thursday went down about 4.75%, 4.74. Yeah, I think it's kind of like in the middle there. And so, yeah, and one thing that might be useful to do if you have the trend channel tool, you probably, I'm going to draw it from back there. It's based on the closes, so that does line up with it, but maybe this big candle will throw it off. Yeah, that looks like downtrending consolidation, kind of got a fake out break above it here, but that was an open above and then a close below, rejected from 222. And so this downtrending consolidation, I would now just, if we can't get, an ad might have popped up, so I apologize about that. I've been trying to skip them, but I haven't skipped them, but towards the end I have been. But yeah, so, if we get a close below Thursday's low, which was $2, we get a close at 199. I feel like it's, more likely than not coming down to 189. Right now, if we get a close above the high, 214, or really 215 was Friday's high. So if we get a close at like 216 or higher, I think that looks really good. But, want to see a lot of volume behind it. And here, on that note of volume, big move down, not much volume. And so when you're, let's see, going down a lot and there's not much volume, that suggests, in my understanding, that it's unlikely to continue going down. And then when you get a kind of a reversal move, not a full, engulfing candle there or anything, not a full reversal, but pretty close, more volume on it, that suggests that, that could be, looking pretty good. So, yeah, I'd really just want to see a close above 216 at this point. But right now, it is downtrending, and it hasn't, Friday really, I feel like, gave me a little bit more confidence. I'm kind of like fumbling with my words a little bit because this Thursday looked really bad. Friday makes it look not so bad. So I think that there's still some hope. But for me, like, as you know, I don't have a position in BLNK. I am holding a charge point though. This makes me think it's probably going to be pulling back to 189, but maybe I'm wrong. And maybe my feeling like that is kind of like a contraindicator that this could be breaking out. So I'd look for that on Monday. And yeah, too, here when it did dip to 189, the RSI then was at 25.42, and it's just been going a little bit higher. So, getting a close above 222, that would be awesome. Getting a close above the high here, 224, like closing at 225, that would be excellent. So, yeah, it's still like 189 still on the table, but there's still hope. Hope is not lost. Friday gave that hope back. That was kind of lost on Thursday, in my view. So hopefully that's helpful. But yeah, I'm going to pull up Unusual Whales real quick because I'm really interested in it. Just to look at SoFi. I haven't gotten any alerts on SoFi. Maybe I'll get some tomorrow. And yeah, so I've got this. Okay, so these are alerts that came out on Friday. They're all on the ask side. The filter that I usually look at, I'm just going to explain this stuff on the side in case you guys aren't too familiar with it. This is stuff that I've been learning over the past month. I have been loving Unusual Whale, so I'm going to keep it, whether that's for adding to the channel or just for my own benefit. I've been enjoying swinging calls and puts. I swung an ASTS put on Friday for almost a 60% gain. I bought a contract for 210, sold it for 330, and I might actually, just to share that with you guys, that was this put. And so on Friday, the average, or the high for the average fill, if we look at that down here, was 331, and I sold mine for 330. And then it pulled back to closing right around 223. So, I feel really good about that. That was like a number of coincidences I think happened. I was just not going to place an order to sell on Friday. And, maybe on Monday it goes up to $400 or $4. And, then I'd be, oh man, I shouldn't have placed that order. But I just happened to look at my phone, didn't have a limit sell. Usually I do 20%. I think that's pretty good for, a few days. For the day trade, I had bought the contract. This is a put on Friday. And I just happened to look at my phone when it's like, whoa, gosh, my portfolio has just jumped up about $100. What's going on? And, then I looked at this and I kind of got greedy initially. I had bought one contract at 210, so that's $210. Doubling that would be putting it at 420. That's also kind of funny. And so I initially placed a limit sell at 420. And then I recognized, well, this did just spike up. It may not be continuing. It may be pulling back. So it was a pretty volatile move to the upside. It may correct. And, so I decided to inch my way down. I did it in 10-cent increments. I think that's the only way I was able to adjust it. And then I adjusted it down to 330. That got filled right at the top there. So I'm really proud about that. But it doesn't always play out like that. I have lost a good amount of money swinging contracts, but practice makes perfect. And I think that losing a good amount of money is the result of not accepting losses sooner. And so I'm learning with that. But anyways, looking at SoFi here, we got a few alerts, 2 different contracts, all calls on the ask side. So that is saying that people are more in favor of this going up. They're buying rather than selling these contracts, or at least here, if we divvy it up by percentage, this is 68% for that one, 67% for that one, both the 7.5 call expiring this coming Friday, and then 86% on this contract, 850 for October 10th. And so, basically, I look at calls and puts, so making sure Ed's head's not in the way. And then I try to look at stuff that has high premium traded, so it's not, $2,000, that's not a whale, but it just filters out like the smaller orders. Like me, I would be buying my contracts in individual form rather than in bulk. And so when it's the premium gets higher, it's because, larger orders. And then I also have a spot at set at $1 for the max, just because I don't want to be spending, and I should actually adjust that because I did just have some success with a contract that was trading above $2. But yeah, that doesn't really affect anything here, but I am going to save this as, here, let's see. I think maybe I'll have to continue to adjust that. I saved it as something before. But anyways, days to expiration, 1 to 40. I just don't want 0 days, expiring the same day. But really, I look for contracts that go more out, like further out than like 2 weeks, just to give me some wiggle room. And most of this stuff, I do have, I want volume over open interest. Just like, kind of a change in the sentiment, and then out of the money, I do have that on as well. But I also don't necessarily think that's super important, but at least for this filter, that's what I've got going on. And so here, looking at these, I'm just going to pull this up. How has this been going? So premium on this right now is 525,000, $500,000. So that's a good amount of money. And what thing I've been recognizing with the hunting unusual whales, at least how I want to approach trading contracts, is if the premium here is like 100,000, that's maybe it's a dolphin or like a manatee. It's a manatee. Manatees aren't really that smart. Or maybe they are, but they don't seem like it. They just munch on the seagrass and that's it. They're like sea cows. And, I'm not too convinced that a sea cow is going to be making, the best decisions. But, a blue whale getting to like, hundreds, plural, thousands of dollars or million, then that's like, okay, that's a whale. And so here, if we look at this, premiums about 500,000. On the ask side, about 23,000, contracts traded on the bid side, about 10, 11,000. So it's about 2/3 on the ask side, 1/3 on the bid side or the bearish side. Or that could just be securing profits. You never know. And so, I can't adjust the chart, but I might actually just scroll down here, look at this table. I find this to be pretty useful. So open interest is about 14,000 contracts. Volume, though, traded on Friday was 34,000, but with, about, the bids canceling out about half of the asks. So that's about an increase of around 10,000 on the buy side there. The open interest is effectively doubled coming out of Friday, whereas, it's just been, in the 10,000s here, it's just slowly been increasing. And so, 750, let's look at the chart for SoFi. 750, that's where it's currently at, so that's in the money, kind of safe there. But I think, with expiration being right around the corner this coming Friday, these are pretty risky. So I personally would not partake in this contract. Too risky for me because, it's like it goes red on Monday or Tuesday. And it's like, but then, maybe I want to get my average down on Wednesday, but then Thursday, maybe it's too late. But then maybe Friday it pops. So it's just a little too tense for me. Just thinking about, when's their next earnings call? Later in October. I guess they did just have one, the end of July. And so the other contract here, October 4th, that's one that I'd be more interested in just because, there's some wiggle room and it's out of the money. So I find that intriguing. But the premium, 6,000, so there's no whale here. And this is going to be all options data. I sold a couple contracts that I had when there was no volume traded. I showed up on this chart. So this, includes all of that. So, just because there's data presented in unusual whales does not mean you're looking at an unusual whale. It just means that you're looking at data. The unusual whales are the ones that are the large volume, large premium, and that is not what I'm looking at here with SoFi. This, I think it's too risky to really mention. And I think, trading, at least for me, trading contracts within a week of expiration, that's just gambling for me. Just because I don't want it to go to zero. And so part of that is like trade well away from expiration. But yeah, I think this one looks good. I'm going to be doing a video on it either probably tomorrow morning, because I'm going to get my stuff ready for tomorrow, put timestamps on this, and then I'll do a video on this first thing in the morning, have that out for you guys in the morning. But yeah, thank you so much for hanging out. I'm just going to put the like and subscribe thing up, even though I know you guys already do that. But yeah, if you do enjoy, these are just my thoughts. Oh yeah, I'm going to start over. But those are just my thoughts. If you found them helpful, make sure you like the video, share your thoughts in the comments down below, and make sure you subscribe to the channel for more videos like that. And always also share your thoughts in the live chat, whether it's ticker request live or periodically. I might do hunting unusual whales, open to the public. I've been trying to limit that to members, really just so it's creating value for them. And I did not do a weekly trading plan this week. And I don't think I necessarily plan to again, because they're a lot of work, and I don't think that they add too much value. I think that going over unusual whales, perhaps on a daily basis, adds a lot of value. And, that is, I do partake in trades. I do go over the ones that I plan on partaking in, or at least the orders that I place. And so, I find that to be a real big value, whether that's for trading or just, learning from the channel and stuff. But yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out. It's been a really, really fun one, and I'm glad that SoFi, really just pops out at me. So I'm excited about this one. And you guys will be seeing that in the video tomorrow. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your night and a great start to the week. And that, we see some pretty big green candles in our portfolios this week. But yeah,